This lidded jar from demo number 8 is going to become the body of our teapot. All of the sections for this teapot have started from the same wedged ball of clay. So I started out with 5 pounds and cut off sections for the lid, the spout, and the handle. Now you have 2 options for your spout, and I'm going to show you a thrown spout and a hand-built spout. For your thrown spout, I have a 1/2 pound of clay here, and I've started it as a small cylinder that is open to the wheel head. You'll notice that this cylinder flares at the base, and that is for ease of attachment for your spout. Think of your teapot as simply a lidded jar with a few extra attachments. So I'm just collaring it in towards the center. The height of my spout is really determined by the profile and the shape of the teapot body. It attaches relatively low and will extend up until the maximum fill level for the tea. And that's so that you don't fill it halfway and tea starts coming out. So we're just collaring it in. Now when the spout becomes too narrow to get my finger inside, I can use a throwing stick, or in this case a pin tool is just that auxiliary finger to go on the inside. And make sure that at the top that you taper the top edge, and that is to cut the tea. So I'm making sure that I've got a sharp top edge. Ribbing the outside, and this is the same skill that you would use for a bottle or a vase with a very small neck. Okay, when I'm happy with my spout, I can scribe a line here. And now I'm going to take my pin tool and just insert it into the spout and turn it. So I'm going to turn the spout in the direction, it's going to be looking in the direction that it's pouring the tea. And having the tool inside the spout really prevents me from closing it off in any section. I'm going to let this spout dry for about 10 to 15 minutes before I handle it further. And now we're ready for a hand-built spout, which is really my favorite. A hand-built spout can start with a paper pattern, and here I have 3 different patterns. So we have a small, medium, and large, and it flares at the points of attachment. So you could say this looks like maybe a bicycle seat or a light bulb. And the size that I choose is always dependent on the size of my teapot. And if I hold the pattern up to my teapot, I can really determine if this is going to be a good size pattern or not. And working from patterns also makes it very easy to duplicate a shape if you have a spout that you really like. So what I have here is a thin, moist slab of clay. It's 1/8 inch thick. So it's a pretty thin, very moist. I've ribbed it with plastic or metal rib dipped in water so that it's ready to bend without cracking. The next thing that I'm going to do is bevel cut in. So I can use an X-Acto blade or a fettling knife, and I'm going to cut out my spout. Again, bevel cut in, so it's a 45-degree angle inward. Peel away my scraps. And I'm flipping my spout over so it's revealing the inside. And what I'm going to do now is sharpen the cutting edge. So the same attention that we gave to the thrown spout so that it will cut the tea and not dribble down the front side of the spout, we're sharpening the cutting edge of our hand-built spout. So I'm just rubbing it between two layers of paper or newspaper. Here I'm just using my pattern. And this is going to make a strong compressed cutting edge. Okay. So now what we're going to do is slip and score our bevel cut. And we're going to pinch a small, soft coil of clay along the top edge of the bevel cut, just on one side. And this is really going to form a leak-proof, seamless interior to our spout. And it only has to be on one side because these sides are coming together. And here I can use a sheet of plastic or, in this case, a little foam sheet from the cone pack. And really, it makes bending the spout together really easy. And what I'm doing here, I'm not going whoop in one quick motion because that way it would crack along the bottom section, is I'm very, very gently just bringing this together, very slowly. And I find that the cone pack foam really makes this easy. So very gently and slowly, that way your spout doesn't crack. So I'm just bringing these two edges together. And I don't try to hide this seam. I make it as clean as possible. So I can draw my rib along it. I can use wet fingertips. Again, it's totally up to you, but I like to let this seam show. While I still have this tool handle inside of the spout, I'm going to take a wet rib and just rib the underbelly if there's any bit of cracking. Another perk of having this tool handle in here is I can wet it and just draw it along my seam here. So I'm just compressing that coil right into that inside seam. Another thing I can do with this tool handle, this is just a paintbrush handle, insert it into the spout and I'm going to make it look in the direction it's pouring because right now he's got a stiff neck. Oh, and that softens him. So he's looking now in the direction that he's going to pour the tea. And again, with the tool handle in there, you don't have to worry about pinching it off. Now it still looks very slabular, and what I'm going to do is take a wet finger down here and puff it out. Now this flare at the points of attachment is really going to make it look more like it belongs on the thrown pot. It's going to give it a little extra volume, not make it look slabby-like. And the last thing I'm going to do is just turn these outside edges outward. And again, that's for ease of attachment. And just like the thrown spout, I'm going to let this stiffen up 10 to 15 minutes without touching it. So set it aside. Now we're ready to put our teapot together.